I got a question from Michael. Michael says this: I'm a 53-year-old male who's done their fair share of lifting over the years, but whose current priorities are more general health and longevity and cycling, speed, and endurance. Now, in my world, you got to be careful because I don't know if you're talking about bicycle speed and bicycle endurance or cycling endurance with speed. But either way, I think I'll be able to answer this question okay. I'd still like to lift as I know strength and retaining muscle into old age is important. It is probably the answer to most longevity or this new lifespan, health span thing. The stronger you are going, the stronger you can maintain, the later and later in life, the better. So that's, we should call it strength span, patent pending. And bone density can be an issue for cyclists, so it is about cycling. Okay, I apologize. All of this said, do you see any benefit to sticking with heavy barbell squats for me, or would goblet squats with a 24 or 32 kettlebell be enough? This is one of those questions where I'd love to have you train with me. We could talk about it in real time. I think barbell squats are one of the best exercises ever. But then you hit this point in life where the load isn't really helping you anymore. You know, I remember having a conversation with Dan Martin. This would be about 12 years ago, maybe longer, where he said that really all you ever needed to be strong enough for most sports is a 400-pound squat. And we talked about it, and I thought about my own experiences, and I thought about the recommendation of Vasily Alexiev that you should probably only back squat 20 kilos more than you could clean and jerk. And I looked at that and I thought about the math. And when I kept that number true, so when I was clean and jerking 175, and I kept my squat around that, 185 range. So for my American listeners, when I was clean and jerking 385 as my typical lift, I was getting away with a low 400-pound squat and being at a high national level, and in the discus, an international level, without a lot of pain and misery. When I upped my squat, that's when I ran into some problems with my body composition, and I don't even know what the word would be. Athleticism might be the word. I'm not saying squats are bad, but I just think the issue with squats is that since the mid-1970s, more has been the push. More load, more reps, more load and more reps. And there's value to that. As we hit a certain age, and I'm thinking you're right on the cusp of it, the mobility and the flexibility work you get from squatting, the position work you get from squatting, and I don't even know what you want to call that. The light tonic work of squatting is what you want. And that becomes when the goblet squat becomes even more important. I would argue this, Michael, for a few years, we could even do something this simple. Maybe a few months before you're trying to get some speed in your cycling performance. Let's just say months 4, 5, and 6 are going to be the months that you are going to be chasing speed. I think months 1, 2, and 3 in this example would be a really good time to get the barbell squat up. There was this great Canadian cycler. He was a sprint focus, and his weight room was squat and bench press, and he had the legs to prove it. So the back squat, I actually think might help with speed, especially if you're in those certain kinds of races where it's just, where you go from 0 to top end really fast, the indoor ones. When you slide over into that, so months 1, 2, 3, focus hard on the back squat. When you get into that period, months 4, 5, and 6, when you're doing the speed work, slide over to goblet squats, stick with goblet squats when you transition over into endurance training. And then after the end of whatever the season that would be, go back to barbell squats as appropriate. You might be able to get through that. That might give you 2 or 3 more years of doing that. And then from there, transition to just the goblet squat, the double kettlebell front squat. And even like what I do the goblet squat followed by just a a broomstick overhead squat as my warm-up, just to make sure everything's where it should be. I've used the overhead squat and the Turkish get-up as my assessment for a long time. I also use a drill we call the windmill stick. It's in the YouTube videos here, to test my my whole spinal column, to make sure everything's loose and flexible and about the same on both sides, which is probably more important. It's okay to be stiff as long as you're stiff kind of across the way. You don't want to be hypermobile here at this part of your body and a cement truck here. At least that's what I believe. But I think so. If you can listen, if I make sense, maybe 3 months of back squats, get on the bike, go fast with goblet squats in the weight room, stick with the goblet squats during the endurance training, and then as you move off the endurance work, slide yourself back to back squats. Do that for a couple more years while you're still getting benefit out of it, and then move on. Okay? Great question, Michael. Thank you.